We spend billions of dollars trying to develop technology that can capture the sun's energy. But what if the perfect blueprint has been sitting right here in front of us the entire time? Today, we're going to dive into a really simple but kind of profound idea that the most advanced solar collector on Earth wasn't made by us. It's a plant.
And this one thought is where it all begins. I mean, think about it for a second. Our best solar panels, they're flat, they're rigid. Now compare that to the incredibly complex, three-dimensional shapes you see in nature. What if we just rethought our whole approach and used biology as our inspiration?
All right, Section 1, the ultimate solar panel. So let's just kick things off with a basic comparison between our technology and nature's technology. This thing we're going to call the solar stack.
And wow, the difference is pretty stark, right? On one side, you've got our flat panels. They have one job, and one job only: turn sunlight into electricity. But on the other side, you've got the solar stack, a plant. It's a literal living factory of leaves, and it's juggling multiple functions all at the same time. And that's really the heart of it. This natural tech doesn't just make energy for itself. No way. It produces the food that feeds pretty much every living thing on this planet. And, as we're going to see, it even cooks up complex chemicals we can use as medicine. So it's a power plant, a food factory, and a pharmacy, all rolled into one.
So let's move on to Section 2, nature's grand design. We kind of get what the solar stack does now, but how? How does this amazing living machine actually pull it all off? Let's break it down.
This description almost sounds like poetry, but it's also, weirdly, a perfect engineering blueprint. You can almost see it, can't you? Semi-horizontal collectors, a central elevator, a subterranean fluid soak-up system. Okay, so what does all that actually mean?
Well, the array of collectors, that's the leaves, of course. They're perfectly angled to catch as much light as possible. That central elevator, that's just the stem, shuttling water and nutrients up and sugars down. And the subterranean fluid soak-up system? You guessed it. That's the roots, holding the whole thing down and pulling resources right out of the soil.
And this line just captures the whole process so beautifully. Photosynthesis isn't some boring chemical reaction. It's described here as something almost magical. It's translating photons, actual particles of light, into the energy that fuels life. But pay attention to that last line. It's all part of a grandiose plan.
And this plan isn't just about the plant looking out for number one. It's not some isolated gadget operating in a vacuum. Now, it's the central hub of an entire ecosystem. It's a cornerstone of life itself.
And there it is, the solar stack. It's the link. It's what we call a primary producer, sitting right at the bottom of the food web, turning sunlight into a form that every other creature, and that includes us, can use. It literally connects everything. Okay, Section 3, a double-edged leaf. But here's where the story gets a little more complicated, because that same incredible chemical factory, the one making all that food, can also create substances with a much darker potential.
So you've got this duality, this two-sided coin. On one side, there's this incredible power to heal, to make medicines that can literally turn illness to a cure. But on the flip side, you've got plants loaded with potent mind-benders, substances that are so easy to misuse and abuse. The very same source can give us life, or it can lead to real harm.
So what's the reason for this misuse? Well, according to this, it's the pursuit of great pleasure, which is used as an excuse. And that's a key point, right? The plant itself isn't good or evil. It's neutral. It's our relationship with it that makes all the difference. So it really forces you to ask a pretty fundamental question. Is this incredible natural technology a gift? Or is it a danger? Or is the answer found entirely in how we, as people, choose to use it? All right, Section 4, from resource to commodity. And this leads us straight into the human perspective, because how we see the solar stack pretty much dictates our entire relationship with it. And there's been a massive shift in thinking from seeing it as a resource to seeing it as just a commodity.
So think about the old way of doing things. It was a relationship built on sustainability, on looking ahead. The idea was simple. You work with the natural cycle. You harvest what you need, and then you save the seeds, these new packets, to make sure you've got food for next year. It was a partnership with nature.
But then, a totally different mindset started to take over.
one that doesn't see the plant as a partner in a cycle but as just raw material, an object you can modify and control and exploit to make as much money as possible. And this quote just captures that shift perfectly. I mean, listen to the language. It's so active, almost aggressive. Grab, splice, mash. The goal here isn't about sustenance. It's about delivering a tonnage of cash. This is basically the industrialization of the solar stack.
And that brings us to our final section, the price of progress. So what's the consequence of this new approach? What's the real price we pay when we try to improve on nature's design just for profit? Well, it's something of a cautionary tale.
So let's just walk through this corporate model. Step 1, you splice some genes to create these new hybrids that give you way bigger yields. Sounds great, right? But then comes step 2. You sell sterile seeds to the growers, and that is the catch. The farmer can't save their own seeds for next year anymore. They're locked into a cycle of having to rebuy every single year. Which leads straight to step 3, the squeeze. It cuts right into the money they have for their own family's next meal.
And this is the big, flashing warning sign at the end of all this. A system that's so focused on these uniformed, controlled crops risks destroying the very biodiversity that keeps our food supply secure. I mean, a world without that variety is a world that's vulnerable to famine, a world filled with the anxiety of not knowing where your next meal is coming from.
And that's really what we're left with. The solar stack is an absolutely incredible piece of natural technology. It's a provider, it's a healer, it's the foundation of our entire ecosystem, but as we try to bend it to our will for commercial gain, we really have to ask ourselves, what are we losing in the process? Is it our resilience, our independence, or is it the very variety that keeps our entire world alive?